This is my Topo Toppers Mesa camper on my Nissan Frontier. It's a wedge-style pop-up camper that was installed in March 2023. I'm gradually building out the interior and sharing my progress as I go.
After the week that I spent out in Central Oregon for Expo PNW, I was really enjoying how the camper is functioning, just getting this little couch thing built in. I really found myself eager to have the other side built out. I can't build that thing in until I've got insulation at least on this wall, and I can't put that insulation in until I've got whatever wiring, electrical wiring I want to have hidden behind the insulation. So that's what I got to do next. And then the wiring needs to get back inside of this storage box and then into there where I will do all of my connections and then be able to power it off the Jackery 1500 that's built in there. And I've just removed everything from inside the camper, the bed panels, the mattress panels, all my bedding, everything, so I can just have this space. I've never really wired a camper before. The wire gauge is so small for these lights that it's so thin that, you know, I think it can just be up against the camper wall behind the insulation. I'm just kind of using painter's tape to kind of get it roughly positioned for now, just so that I can cut the lengths I need, and then I'll go back. And so I think if that light was, I don't know, like right about there makes some kind of sense. There, no, there, if there's one there. Okay, so now I've got all of my wiring for the little lights put into place, including right up onto the cargo door there. So I think we can go ahead and like more permanently affix it. I just used the blue tape just so I could get things laid out and make changes if I realize I made a mistake. But now I'm gonna more securely secure it.
I'm pre-cutting pieces of Gorilla Tape for more securely securing the wires in place. I've had good luck with this product, holding very well in a range of applications, and I think it'll be fine for holding this very lightweight wire in place, since it's going to get covered by insulation anyway.
Okay, so I've got all that wire like tidied up and secured. I think that Gorilla Tape is going to hold it just fine. It's going to get held in place by the insulation anyway. So I think I can start working on putting insulation in now. So I was going to try and cut all one piece of insulation here with the window cut out, but it's going to get covered, and I just see I'm more likely to mess it up if I try and do that than if I just piece it together around here. So I think that's going to be more simple. I'm just going to build the pieces around. It's all going to get covered anyway. So what I learned the first time I insulated my first cap was that what seems to work the best is just a super simple, actually thin bladed cutter like this, and making an initial cut, a very shallow initial cut, just to break the surface. It's much more controllable when you're only making just a tiny little cut, whereas if you try to use a longer blade and get all the way through it in one pass, it's much easier to end up sort of wavering away from your straight edge. So an initial very superficial cut, and then going back through with a little more depth, and then back through one more time with more depth to finish it off. And I can usually get, at least with the other insulation I was using, I could usually get a really nice clean cut. Let's finish this off here. That's real nice. I'm happy with that. I've had a lot of people ask me why I'm insulating the shell when I've just got canvas tent upstairs. A couple of reasons. One thing that I found in the winter when I was camping in this is that when I put my hand near the aluminum, it felt much colder than near the canvas. Aluminum, you know, is obviously it's a very efficient heat conductor, which means it's pulling heat out of the inside of the camper. So even if I've got heat loss through the canvas, if I can prevent heat loss down here, that's, you know, that much more heat that I'm keeping in. Sitting down here in the bottom of the camper on a cold winter night with heat rising and being next to these super cold aluminum walls, it really gets chilly down in here, even if I've got some heat running. So that's one reason. The other reason is in the summer, when I'm driving around in the sun, obviously these black aluminum walls are bringing heat into the camper. Usually that heat will shed just fine by the time I'm ready to go to bed, but sometimes in the middle of the day I need to get in here, I need to do something, or I want to take a little nap, and so it would be nice to not have the temperature get so hot in here. Okay, so I just parked after being out on a drive, and we're parked in the sun. That metal is currently sitting at 81 degrees, and the insulation is sitting at 64 degrees, like it is cool in here. Wow, that's already gained a lot of heat. Let's see what happens as it sits here in the sun. What that means is that, yeah, this is warm. This wall is radiating heat into the camper. There is no heat coming into the camper right here. Outside temperature in those same spots, 82 there and 87 there, actually 88 there. That's where the insulation is. Okay, 84, 85. So inside the truck, yeah, this is actually cooler probably because that air inside the truck is cooling this metal down, so that heat is transferring inside. Here, the heat is staying outside because that insulation is keeping it from getting in there. So this metal is warmer already. Okay, it's about 45 minutes later. It's getting warmer outside. That's now 72 degrees. That is now 120 degrees. Just feels normal. And that is hot. That is heating up the inside of the truck. So looking on the outside, yeah, that's 135 degrees there where the insulation is. And yeah, 118, 117, 16, 117 degrees where the insulation isn't. Yeah, so that's a lot of heat that's staying outside. So I think the more common way people tend to install their insulation is to use some kind of spray adhesive. But I'm actually using this two-sided Gorilla Tape. I've had good luck with this stuff, and I feel like if I make a mistake, need to pull it back off, redo something, I feel like I can get this back off without, you know, tearing up the insulation. And it's plenty strong. This is like 30-pound tape, and you know, obviously this stuff weighs nothing at all. I think this is more than adequate to keep it up there, but may give me a little bit of flexibility if I want to remove or redo anything. And you know, this, I'm not living in this as a camper. This doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to get some insulation up on the walls. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to help. And let me reiterate, this whole series of the camper build videos, these are not how-to videos. These are, here's what I did videos. I do not have the experience or expertise to be telling you how to do anything. I'm just showing you what I did. I'm sure that a professional, you know, van builder or camper builder would probably do all of these things different from what I'm doing. I just love it when I hit on a video that's titled how to whatever, and then it's obvious that the person is doing it for the first time ever. I mean, I take those kind of videos with a pretty heavy grain of salt. Anyway, if this doesn't work out, you'll be the first to know. And my intention here is, once I've got my wall covering in place, I am going to trim out this window opening with maybe like some 1-inch angle aluminum to cover these raw cut edges and just give it a more finished look. Okay, so I now have all of the downstairs insulated, at least as much as I'm going to do for this stage. I had some left over of the foil lined polyiso from the previous topper, and I use that over here on this side. It's going to get covered up anyway with cabinetry, so I'm not putting any sort of wall covering on this. I did want the pink stuff every place else because it seems to maintain a smoother surface and doesn't get dented up the way this stuff does. I still want to do the inside of the door here and up in here, but that's not stopping me from moving on with the rest of the build, so I will worry about that later.
Still to come in this series, you'll see my experimental wall covering fail and my attempt to DIY a tire table fail, though the rest of my electrical did succeed. Subscribe now so you don't miss an episode, and thank you for watching.